Chicago struggling to get a handle on teen takeovers with at least 36 people shot over Memorial Day weekend across the city. And now President Trump is commenting on Sunday's incident where an 18-year-old allegedly drove a car into 5 Chicago police officers, writing on Truth Social, quote, "Teen takeover in Chicago, 5 officers badly hurt. Mayor and governor are terrible, should call for help." Joining me now, host of the Crime and Justice podcast and the weekly rap sheet on Fox Nation, Donna Rotunno. Donna, good morning to you. Great to see you. And as a Chicago resident yourself, I am sure that this increase in violence when the weather gets warm comes as no surprise to you. And that's part of the problem, is that this is expected and yet nothing ever changes. So what is your reaction to this situation?
Well, good morning, Carly. First, thank you for having me. And yes, as a resident of Chicago, these are issues that we are all dealing with. We talk about it regularly when we sit down for dinner with our friends, that here we are again, the summer of love, as we love to call them. They're back. And the problem is you have these large gatherings. And I will make a disclaimer here just so it's transparent. But my office does represent the young man who is charged in the case that we're talking about here today. But as a more global conversation about this, we have a mayor and a governor who have completely decriminalized so many different aspects of these types of circumstances. And instead of coming out and being strong about how the city will not tolerate this and the police will make arrests, we have a mayor who's coming out and talking about the fact that, we're not going to blame just these young people and the parents need to get involved. And while that is true, the parents need to get involved, residents of Chicago have to be comfortable that the city is going to keep them safe. And how can you do that when on main streets, these are main streets in Chicago, Roosevelt Road is a main area, Loomis is a main street. This is a place where people who are innocent can be hurt, and they don't ask for this. They don't want to be a part of this, and the police can only do so much. And when you continue to defund, we do not have enough police officers, and when you don't have a mayor or a governor who support law enforcement, less people want the job.
Yeah, and you saw it, the president posted on Truth Social an offer for federal assistance in Chicago. Do you think the mayor, the governor will accept?
Of course not. They won't accept, because politically it wouldn't be good for them to say that Donald Trump can help in any way. But unfortunately, I've said it numerous times on your show and others, the role of government is to keep its citizens safe. Whether you're Republican, whether you're Democrat, no matter what side of the aisle you fall on, you need to do whatever you have to do to keep people safe. What happens to our property values in Chicago? What happens when people continue to say, you know what, I don't want to put up with this anymore, and I'm moving to Florida or I'm moving to Texas? I mean, we really need to wake up here. I mean, pretty soon Chicago's going to turn into what we're watching in New York, where you have the governor and the mayor begging people to come back.
Yeah, that's so true. The #1 job of any form of government, state, local, federal, is to keep people safe. And when 36 people are shot in a single weekend, that is not getting the job done. Donna, thank you so much. And you can listen to Donna on new episodes of the Crime and Justice podcast, which drops twice weekly on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever podcasts are found. You can, of course, also watch brand new episodes of the weekly rap sheet every Friday. Donna Rotunno, we appreciate you as always.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.